Hey, this is Darren, Senior Editor, Popular Mechanics.
And this is Andrew, Site Director, Popular Mechanics.
And it is September 25th, which means Star Trek Discovery exists in the world in which we live now. And that's something that we're going to have to deal with. And we have thoughts about it.
We do have
I have thoughts about it. Andrew has thoughts about it. So before we get into some of the details of the episode, let's just start out very simply. Andrew, what did you think of it?
Man.
Word.
So we saw 2 episodes last night, right?
And one was premiered on TV.
Yeah, on
after
CBS.
Oprah and 60 Minutes.
And then the other was on All Access,
which
is the $6 a month siloed CBS streaming service they all want us to pay for so we can watch Star Trek.
Yes. What a great future. Anyways.
I feel like the first 2 were such a extended intro that it's still like whether where they go and where the show's going to be any good is still totally to be determined.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like we knew a lot of this coming in, but we know like they didn't even get to the titular ship, the USS Discovery.
Yes, the Discovery, which is the name of the show, much like Enterprise and DS and all that stuff. We didn't even see it. We didn't see it in the first 2 episodes, so you're right. It definitely feels like the show that we saw in these first 2 episodes may not exactly be the show we're going to get. Obviously, like the style of it will carry over. But I think maybe this first 2 episodes were definitely like an extended pilot almost.
It was like a TV movie almost.
Yeah.
They started a war, but I don't know. We're not clear whether the war is going to dominate the entire storyline.
Yeah.
When we actually go to the rest of the season on All Access, or if there'll be sort of adventures more like standard Star Trek TV where they go on away missions to planets or they meet new species. Like, is it just going to be all war all the time?
Yeah.
No idea. I really have no feel for that. Even based on the little snippet that they showed at the end.
Next time on Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. I thought there's a lot to be interested in. She's a cool heroine. Imperfect, bold, makes mistakes, you know. So it doesn't. I feel like they were very purposefully playing against type.
Yeah,
because so many other iterations of Star Trek have had these heroes who, maybe they're fallible in certain ways, but they're sort of like,
for the most part, they're pretty.
They always do the right
perfect.
thing.
Yeah,
the Federation always does the right thing, and she very much does not do the right thing.
Right.
Very often in the first 2 hours of television.
Yeah, which I'm gonna get to her character a little more in depth because I also I wrote up my feelings on Popular Mechanics that you guys can read if you want, but I have a lot of feelings.
Go ahead.
But so the main character, played by Sonequa Martin Green, is First Officer Michael Burnham, and I feel so on a couple levels I feel like her character, while she is interesting, like a Star Trek character we've never seen before, like you were mentioning, she's in the first 2 episodes, she is not easy to like because she makes bad decisions, rash decisions. Some would say very poor decisions. She's almost the entire cause for like this massive war.
She's rightfully court-martialed.
And and she's if she's the main character, it's kind of difficult to want to root for her. But like the little snippet of like next week on Star Trek or this season or it does seem like maybe these first 2 episodes are kind of like her great sin, and then the season's going to be like kind of a redemptive one. Yeah. Which I'm cool with that. But like in the first 2 episodes, I was just like, wait, she's our main character? Like I don't like her at all.
I feel like
which is a bold move.
Yeah. But I felt like the other problem with the first 2 was that it very much felt like an elaborate head fake. Right. So clearly they're trying to do Star Trek in the prestige television era, and to a certain extent that succeeds. They've got the like really beautiful sort of Westworld inspired opening sequence, which is really great. Like it's sort of little tastes of James Bond and Westworld and the John Oliver show are in there. And they're trying to basically make an anti-hero work in Star Trek, which has always been very like pretty black and white as far as who's good and who's bad.
Exactly,
and like sometimes the Federation makes mistakes, but they don't have somebody try to like basically, have a mutiny in the first episode of the show and go against the captain.
There will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, maybe stop now. I don't know, but
I'm gonna go ahead and assume that they have. Given where we are now, so that's good, but it also felt like it was trying very hard to do like wow moments to surprise us by sort of killing off characters you thought would be important, or having her betray the ship in the first episode. It's like it's trying to do a lot in the first hour and a half, which makes sense because they're trying to do a show that sort of works, reinvents Star Trek for this era of television, of serialized, high budget, streaming television. Get a new audience for the franchise without alienating hardcore Trekkers, and convince everyone to sign up for their service, because you're going to end up having to pay for months and months of at least $6 a month, $10 if you don't want commercials to watch this show. So there's a lot of heavy lifting that they're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, or you could do some creative Googling, but whatever. Anyway, so
what do we say about the creative Googling?
And so and I think. And to talk about the Federation being like a slightly different Federation than we're used to, there were other Federation officers that I liked. I liked Lieutenant Saru. I thought he was played by Doug Jones, who always does a bunch of like weird monsters and things. I think he was in Pan's Labyrinth.
Movies,
he was like the eye guy with the hands. I don't know. But I thought I got like a little sense of like Data from him, kind of a little sense of like. Not like cold analytical, like this is what we're doing, but he kind of served that role as Data, like the Data character.
He's the Spock Data character. So I mean, kind of put there for fan service, but also to balance out, because there's this whole dynamic with her where she's a human who was raised by Vulcans, and you see this.
Michael Burnham.
Yeah, Michael Burnham, the first officer. And you see this flashback of her, with Sarek being raised at like the Vulcan Science Academy, and. So she's set up, and you see this flashback of her when she first joins the ship, of being a very sort of cold, Spock-like, logical person. But then this episode, she's a total hothead, and Saru is the one who like has to calmly explain what's actually happening.
And I guess that was kind of the problem I was having, was that it was very fast paced. Lots of the backstory didn't match what was happening on screen. I felt like there were moments when I was supposed to feel something and didn't feel anything when it came to Federation stuff. I thought some of the acting wasn't the best, which I understand, like Star Trek, okay, it was not great acting, but like
the acting was really wooden.
The acting was wooden, and it was really. I don't know if you had this experience. I liked the Klingons a lot.
Oh yeah.
I know that people are going to be upset that they look different. Like that didn't really bother me that much. Like whatever. But I thought like they were more slow paced. You kind of learned about the leader Takumba, who was cool.
Yeah.
They introduced this other character. They had all that Batless, Stovacor, Kales, like everything you want with Klingons. Like the cool little side detail of how they like launch like coffins and put it on the like that's cool. You know, like I thought the Klingons were much more interesting, and I sort of was like, man, I would totally want to see a Klingon show. To be honest,
spend more time with them.
And then when they would go back to the USS Shenzhou, which is the ship that the first two episodes take place on, I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not 100% invested in the Federation characters yet. I think the Klingons were great. I thought the look and feel of the show was, fine. It's a new, as someone, I was reading someone saying, like, I'm sure the original series folks thought TNG was kind of weird when it came out in the 90s.
Right.
Just kind of have to accept that, like, this is what television's like now. TNG wouldn't really work on television right now.
No.
This is what it is. And I think for what it was, to be honest, overall, I have to say it, like, slightly exceeded expectations only because my expectations were rather low. I did not think it was going to come in and be that good, and it ended up interesting me enough to watch the next episode, which is about as much as I could hope for, I guess.
It needed to have enough promise that you want to see where they're going. Like it needed to have enough promise for you to sign up for this service to see like where her character leads.
Exactly.
Which I would be on the fence about it personally.
Yeah.
I think the way they wrote her, with the elaborate backstory, and then this massive betrayal, and then, I mean, it's interesting on paper that she is now effectively out of the Federation, but is somehow gonna. It looks from the trailer for the next thing like she's gonna end up on the Discovery and be called back into service to help the Federation, and this will be like her redemptive arc as the season goes on. We don't know yet how that's going to play out or how she's going to get out of prison. But her character, I think, delivers on paper. It hasn't quite delivered on screen for me yet. Yeah. She's very uneven. Like,
it's like I get what you're trying to do. Yeah. It's just not quite working.
Yeah. You know? I also felt like you could come in watching, having not watched Star Trek really at all, and kind of get what's up with the Klingons. Yeah. Which is kind of because it's simple, right?
Right.
You can sort of grasp the mythology and what they're all about just from the screen time that the Klingons have in Discovery. Whereas with Burnham, it's like they're kind of relying on you knowing the mythology of the show a little bit to be able to understand like why she has this dynamic,
past,
this human Vulcan dynamic, and that she's supposedly this logical person, but then gets really emotional and makes rash bad decisions.
But almost always does, which is just the part that I don't know. We'll definitely have to see how it goes once they finally make their way to the USS Discovery, and I guess the show really takes root there. I'm sure we'll be talking about it much more as the episodes progress. So I guess we'll see you next week, and until then, live long and prosper.
See you guys.
You want me to do that? There you go.